You're watching Capital City Sunday.
The lawsuit challenging Wisconsin's 1849 abortion ban will move forward. A Dane County judge ruled against the Sheboygan County District Attorney's motion to dismiss the case. The judge disagreed with the DA's interpretation of the legal language in the ban, which was grounds for his motion. Wisconsin's abortion ban went back into place last year when the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. I'm joined now by Gracie Skogman. She's a legislative PAC director for Wisconsin Right to Life. Gracie, thanks so much for taking the time to be here.
Thank you for having me, Sarah.
Of course. So let's get into it. What was your reaction to the judge's decision to allow Attorney General Kaul's lawsuit to repeal the 1849 abortion ban to go forward?
We are disappointed, not surprised. The Attorney General has made clear from day one of Roe being overturned that this is his intent. But of course, we are saddened. This is a life-saving law. We have met some of these children that are here today in our state because of this law. So we see this as a step back, but ultimately the question's still to be answered.
You know, you mentioned that you have kind of met some of the children who you say are here because of this law. So you have been aware of situations within the last year that this state law has been kind of enforced?
Absolutely, in the sense that there are more women than ever coming to pregnancy resource centers and seeking support to have their children here in our state. And we have heard directly from women who had appointments at Planned Parenthood that were canceled when Roe v. Wade was overturned, and they instead walked through the doors of a pregnancy resource center and have their children today. So that's been deeply moving for us, but also reminds us that we have so much work to do to ensure that those women have the support that they need.
So I'm curious to get your take on interpretation here, interpretation of the law. So, you know, the judge's kind of interpretation of it here was that it prohibits people from killing fetuses by assaulting or attacking the mother. You know, the judge says the legal language doesn't use the term abortion specifically. You know, what was your reaction to kind of that interpretation?
We certainly have concerns with the interpretation. We believe that it's very clear that this is an anti-abortion statute. But again, ultimately this will likely go to the state Supreme Court to be decided. So we will continue in our hope and continue to fight for the law.
Are you concerned about the future of this bill or of this law should it make it to the Supreme Court, which it likely will?
We are concerned. Of course, we knew that the pro-life issue was a very integral part of the spring elections, and we are disappointed in the outcome. But ultimately, what we have seen in our state over the past year is the most important thing we can do as pro-life advocates is ensure that women have the support that they need, because oftentimes women feel abortion is their only option. Potentially they have housing insecurity, healthcare insecurity, and those are all issues that we can work on regardless of the legality of abortion. And in many cases, we can find bipartisan solutions. So I think that's where we've landed as pro-life advocates, is having that realization. Of course, we hope that this law will be protected and enforceable, but if not, this is where our path lies. So
let's talk a little bit about, you know, moving forward on the kind of topic for 2024. You know, the 2024 election, I think abortion will probably be another major topic going forward here. So what might be your plan to drive turnout among supporters come 2024?
We are launching our largest ever grassroots campaign. We started a few months ago. We have volunteers all across the state who are canvassing, going door to door, making phone calls, and really engaging voters on how they feel about the issue of abortion. And not necessarily trying to convince them one way or the other off the bat, but just get a sense of where Wisconsinites are at. And what we have seen is many Wisconsinites do favor some protections for life. That may not be where we are at Wisconsin Right to Life, but it's something powerful that we can work with. So that's where our messaging is focused on, finding the common ground on protecting life and supporting women, finding bipartisan solutions to support women.
So we've touched on this a little bit, but I just want to, talk a little bit about the mission of Right to Life. Since Roe v. Wade has been overturned, would you say that, the decision by this U.S. Supreme Court last summer to overturn it has changed the mission of your organization at all? It sounds like, you kind of move towards ways to try to appeal to more people in a different way and try to find compromises. Has that changed, or is that something you've always done?
Our mission has always been to uplift women, but I will say we have never given out as many grants to women who are facing an unexpected pregnancy. Pregnancy resource centers are seeing up to double the clients. So while that's always been an integral part of what we do, now it is truly our main focus. Legislatively, with our grassroots, with our volunteers, it all comes back to the pregnancy resource centers and these women, and just ensuring that they have the support that they need.
Do you think that can be any common ground to be found between pro-life organizations and, people who are, pro-abortion rights?
Absolutely. We have seen that supporting women through expansion of Medicaid coverage has bipartisan support, for example. We can have conversations about supporting pregnancy resource centers, and that has been bipartisan nationwide. So I think that we truthfully can find those solutions and make real change for women in our state.
Okay, well, Gracie Skogman, thank you so much for being with us here on Cap City Sunday. On the other side, Democrats and abortion rights advocates saw the judge's ruling as a legal victory. I'm joined now by Planned Parenthood Wisconsin's CEO Tanya Atkinson, actually joining us from San Francisco this morning from a Planned Parenthood conference. Tanya, thanks for taking the time to be here.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. Very glad to be here.
So the ruling carves a path forward for this lawsuit. What's your reaction to that?
Well, certainly we are very pleased with the ruling, and it underscores what we've been, saying all along, that this law is not enforceable. Although that this is a preliminary ruling, we do think that it dispels the notion that Wisconsin prosecutors can charge physicians for providing abortion. And this is an absolutely critical step on the path to protecting and expanding access to abortion care for the long term in Wisconsin.
Because Republicans have large majorities in the state legislature right now, there's really no immediate path there to repeal this law or pass protections. Would you say restoring abortion access in Wisconsin hinges on this lawsuit?
Yeah, so as you pointed out, there's really two paths to restoring abortion access in Wisconsin. One is a legislative path, and we know, as you pointed out, that is very unlikely. And the other is a legal path through our court system. And so, yes, this court case is critical to restoring access to abortion care in Wisconsin.
So this case is likely going to the Wisconsin Supreme Court, and after August 1st, liberals will have a 4-3 majority when Janet Protasewicz is sworn in. She hasn't specifically said how she'd rule on a challenge to the ban, but how do you feel about the lawsuit's chances in the state's highest court?
Yeah, I'm not one to try to project or assume what would happen at the state Supreme Court. The ruling that we just had in Dane County really does, we believe, underscore that this law is not enforceable.
So the law is still in the early stages of litigation here, but is Planned Parenthood Wisconsin already planning on restarting abortion services in the state?
Planned Parenthood Wisconsin is assessing the impact of the ruling and exploring the possibility of resuming abortion care. This requires really careful consideration, of course, with attorneys, physicians, operational teams. As a provider, what's really critical is that we center decisions on patient care, and we are very, very mindful that this ruling is not final.
I want to talk a little bit about the last year since Roe v. Wade was overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court. Has that impacted the work that Planned Parenthood Wisconsin does, of course, beyond the outlawing of abortions in the state of Wisconsin?
Yeah, I think yes, and I think what's important is the impact that the Dobbs decision has had on the people of Wisconsin. People who need an abortion in Wisconsin are having to travel hundreds of miles, and and Planned Parenthood Wisconsin has added patient navigators to try to help individuals navigate this new world of abortion access. And for people who can travel, traveling to other states. And we've also seen other impacts in Wisconsin. I mean, the impact has been profound. Some of the other impacts that we've seen is medical students, either leaving medical school in Wisconsin or pulling their application because they're not going to be able to get the full range of education that they want and need to be able to practice medicine. And so there's just a real profound ripple effect across the state of Wisconsin. For Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin, all of the health centers of Planned Parenthood Wisconsin have remained open, and Planned Parenthood Wisconsin has continued to respond to the needs of the community. So, for example, this year vasectomy services were added at one of our health centers in Milwaukee, and the gender-affirming hormone therapy that we offer has been expanded across the state of Wisconsin.
Last question for you here. I posed this to Wisconsin Right to Life when I spoke with them, so I want to ask you, do you think common ground can be found between pro-life supporters and those who are working to restore abortion rights and access?
Well, Wisconsinites deserve the freedom to make their own medical decisions in consultation with their physician and whomever else they would like to consult. Wisconsinites deserve access to the full range of reproductive services, including abortion. So if people have the freedom to make their own decisions and have access to the full range of reproductive health care, I think that we could find that place.
Tanya Atkinson, thank you so much for joining us this morning on Capital City Sunday.
Thank you, Sarah.
Democrat Rebecca Cook plans to challenge Republican Derek Van Orden for his seat in Congress, why she thinks she can do well in the historically competitive 3rd District.